Hello. Good evening. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're having a good time. Here in the UK, it's a bank holiday today, but the markets have been quite exciting. I want to start. Oops, I have to first stop the sound. There we go. I'm going to start off by talking about a couple of the factors I think that are a big influence on Bitcoin. One of them is the dollar index, or the US dollar, and the value of the US dollar. And as we go into month end, we are sitting on pretty important support here. Whenever I think that this, if I hide a few things here, I think that this dollar index has done a big three-wave correction here, where ABC, in other words, which normally would point to a move lower, potentially new lows, or at least quite a deep pullback from here. And the confirmation for me that you've made that reversal is when you put your fibs on from this low to this high, when you break the 236 and you fib retrace, and when you start to break down the moving averages. And so if I put those fibs back on, so I've gone from this low to this high, here you can see that we are sitting right on this 236 fib level. If that was to break down, or if we were to see a weekly close underneath 92.66, I think that we are likely to see a much bigger move lower. And if we were to lose this daily 50 moving average, I think that we would retrace 50%, at least 50% of this rally, which would mean back to sort of 91.50. And normally a fall in the value of the US dollar is really good for, I've got a whole lot of stuff going on here, is really good for commodities, usually really good for Bitcoin, usually really good for pretty much anything priced in dollar. If the value of the dollar falls, then they tend to go up. So what that also means is that we're also at a level where we could see at month end a reversal here in the dollar and a rally from this 236 fib level, which may send Bitcoin lower. I'm not a fan of trading month end at all. And tomorrow's the last day of the month. What tends to happen on the last day of the month is you will see not very many trend moves. You would tend to see reversals in markets that have done really well all month. That's in particular in stocks. And you'll tend to see sort of profit-taking reversals. Now that kind of window dressing is out of the way, the last day of the month for me, for quite a long time now, has been a sort of no trading day, just because nothing really seems to work. What you will also see, and this particularly in FX, is at the month end fix tomorrow, is you may see some sort of one-way moves, particularly in dollars and things priced in dollars as well. So this is what I'm watching for into month end tomorrow. Another big factor is kind of risk in stock indexes. And we've seen really, really strong moves into month end. It's very common, they call it window dressing. It is very common for stock markets to rally into month end and then kind of ease off on the last day of the month, or the last 2 days of the month. And if you go back and you look at previous months, you'll see that you tend to see that as a little bit of a pattern. So although we are sort of really giddy and really super bullish today, I think that we are approaching a bit of some levels of combined resistance. For me, it's a big sort of level I've had on my chart for some time. Let's put it that way. Until we actually see some reversal price action, though, it doesn't. We're in a really parabolic uptrend, and we should be buying pullbacks. So all of those factors, kind of recent US dollar weakness and really good risk on moves, should be really strong for Bitcoin. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen a big reversal. So I'm going to start with a clean chart. As you know, this big pullback that we had from April to June, I feel like was the first leg in potentially a bigger correction, which would mean that we would have a big three-wave correction at least, and sometimes It can be, you know, in this position, a 5-wave correction before we go up again. And so I'm watching this rally that we're making to see, you know, at what point are we going to stop and head lower. When I put my fibs on here, as you know, we didn't quite reach that 61.8 fib level. So I thought that there was room for us to squeeze a little bit higher up to the 51,000 level. And one of the factors that would confirm that we're still likely to retest that would be holding this 50% level, you know, on a back test, which is exactly what we've done this week. If you think of the fib retrace levels as a staircase, we're climbing up them. And so here, when we went up to the 38.2, we pulled back perfectly to the 236 fib and we carried on higher. We pulled back to the 38.2 and we carried on higher. And so now we've pulled back to this 50% plus all of these daily moving averages. So we really can't say at the moment that we're going lower. All we've really done this month, or since the 20th anyway, is trade sideways. And one of the most interesting thing is this big thrust candle, which was really our sort of breakout candle. All we've done all month since the 20th is trade inside of it. So we've got 10 days of basically inside bars, because apart from one little squeaker here, false break, there, if we draw it like this from this high, we've basically had 10 days of a sideways range. Now, are we likely to break out tomorrow? Maybe. This is a candlestick pattern called, if we look at this big bullish candle that we made on the 27th, and then these 3 dojis that we've made since then, if you Google rising 3 methods or falling 3 methods, this is quite a bullish pattern. When you have a big upside and followed by 3 dojis that don't close more than 50% down, of this candle particularly, that's particularly bullish. This is a bullish pattern that should resolve to the upside. So I am expecting now another move higher from here, and the next upside target will be 51,000, and if we blast through it and hold above it, then I would expect that to be support, and we can continue to 57,000. One of the most interesting things, if you go back and you look at all the other B-leg corrections that Bitcoin have ever made, they've always reached the 61.8 fib, and one has reached this 786 fib. So I think that we are setting up for at least a retest of the highs when we can break out of this sort of 10-day sideways range. It looks like a sideways range if we can do it here. So that's what I'm looking for. And so like the likelihood is after 3 days, if we were going to do this 3 methods candlestick pattern, that we would break higher from here. But you know, I don't know if you're a fan of Toby Crable and his trading book. He waits for 4 inside bars and then you trade the breakout. One of the other really interesting patterns, seasonal patterns for me in Bitcoin, is how often that we tend to make a low or a high for the month around the 5th, 6th, 7th, sometimes up to the 8th, but those days. And so that would put us, because next weekend is a holiday weekend, and so Labor Day, the Labor Day holiday is on, I think, the 6th, isn't it? The Monday. And so that would mean that we make a potentially a high or a low for the month then. So if we do continue lower from here, that's what I would be looking for, a low then, but I think more likely it's going to be the other way around. Sometimes I've seen some Septembers which have been quite kind of doozies. So anyway, at the moment, this is a really bullish chart pattern. There's no reason to be looking to sell Bitcoin, but we are trading sideways. What's really bullish about this is holding above this 200 moving average. This is a really, really kind of nice look, isn't it? To keep going higher. So that's where I am. Sideways, anticipating a break higher in Bitcoin. I'm looking for 51,000 and potentially 57,000 if we get above that. If we look at short-term trading today, So as you know, I like to see corrections which are equal measured move. I'm always looking for them in a pullback. So if we look at this hourly chart today, here's a really nice example of exactly what I look for. So I'm going to measure from this high to this low, project it from here, and you can see that our move was exactly a equal, so one. So this leg and this leg. Sometimes they stop at 61.8 of the first leg. In this case, we didn't. And so yeah, this means when I see this in this reverse here, this tells me that this move lower was a correction, and so we should have had a leg up, pull back, and now another leg higher from here. So short term, we could draw this as a little channel. Confirmation that we're going up again would be when we break out of this channel, something like this. And remember, that's confirmation, not necessarily, you know, when you should buy it. You know, buying highs and buying lows and selling highs is my favorite way to go. So that's what I'm looking for tonight in Bitcoin, and I'm looking for a pop higher. Okay, so apparently there's spam. I get the worst spam on my Facebook page. The real scammers just drive me crazy. I promise you, I'm never going to send you a direct message saying, how's your trading going? Or I'm never, ever going to send you a direct message and ask you for money or anything, or to trade for you. I don't trade for you. I am not licensed to do that in the UK. I am literally, honestly hoping to share knowledge about technical analysis and to help us all make better trades. Okay, so if anybody ever does, it's not me. Don't send them any money. Okay, now right now, of course, here we are. I always say don't diddle in the middle. We're in the middle of this channel, and here in the middle, we could just as easily, you know, go down and retest the lows. Bitcoin loves to double bottom, loves to double top. So, you know, it's much better trading at the margins of a channel or highs and lows of a sideways range rather than in the middle, which is the worst place. Okay, so there's Bitcoin. Really bullish patterns. Here's exactly the same bullish pattern in Ethereum, and we did have a nice breakout today. We did have a nice three-wave correction. We pulled back to our moving averages. We've broken out of our sideways channel. Everything's looking good, but we are now approaching the high of the range. If we are going to continue higher here in Ethereum, we need to break this high. And because we're going the other direction, what we need to make sure as well is it's not just another one of those corrective moves where you make an ABC. Anyway, I think I said it already, but I can't stress enough how I hate trading the last day of the month. That tomorrow might be a funky day and we, you know, see a whole bunch of meaningless moves. It just happens like that. So be a little bit careful. So 33.78, which is a retest of this high, really is where our resistance is. And a reversal here. I think, you know, we're going to see a bit of a knockback there because you always see profit taking when you retest previous highs and lows. But this is kind of our resistance that we've got to overcome if we're going to see another swing higher in ETH, US dollar. And we need to close above 33.56. And then our next upside target is 3,800. So that's our 4-hour view. If we look at it on the daily, let's tidy up our chart while we look at it. You can see, again, we're holding our moving averages. We've been sideways in an uptrend, and I feel like this is a wave 1, 2, 3, and this is wave 4. And very often wave 4s are sideways. Okay, so very often waves 4 also are 5 waves, not 3 waves. And so what would that mean for ETH here? Well, it may mean that we fail here, and so that our 5 waves, especially because, yeah, I don't know, this one's actually very hard to count, but so we would see A, B, C, D, and one more swing lower. before we break out again. So we should watch out for that. That is a very common pattern in wave 4, and we may not get it. And you know, very often wave 4s are equal in time to wave 2. So let's see how long this took, because this was a bit funky, wasn't it? Yeah, you know, this is ready to go, isn't it? We could just rally from here. I feel like this was a bit of an irregular, this wave too. So, yeah, let's see. If we break out, we break out. Now, I do tend to like to buy pullbacks in an uptrend, and I like to sell rallies in a downtrend. But I do trade breakouts as well. One of the things that I will do is I would put an alarm at this level. If we crossed it, then what I'm looking for short term is, are we going to hold above it? And I mean low time frame, I'm on a 15-minute. And if I see that and then we hold it, I think that you can get a really nice entry. But what I don't like to see is, false breakouts and a close back below, and then that level becomes resistance. That's death on a stick. That's all over, and it's going to head much lower. So be a little bit careful. That's what I'm always watching for. Okay, Matty, you said you missed all the action. The waves dumped to see. Okay, I think that waves holding above that level actually is still got further to go. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Okay, some of the others, let's take a look at ADA. One of the ones that I do feel maybe has further to fall is ADA. So it's not my top pick. Here's the thing, it's not my top pick straight away. When I looked at this, I was a bit worried that this was our first swing lower in ADA, B, and we needed a C leg. Okay, and let me hide these moving averages so I can see it a bit. Okay, so here's our first swing lower, rally, ABC. Because I'm never sure, is this a big ABC in the correction over, and is this a new swing higher beginning? And how this unfolds tells us, right? So if we just make a shallow rally from here, so like this, we hold this 61.8 level here, then this was the correction complete. This was wave 1, and that's really cool, because that means that now when we if we rally from here, if we take out these highs in ADA, we're on our way up again. See this? We're in a downtrend until these highs go at 2.846. Okay, otherwise this is our hourly downtrend. We've reversed it. You can see we've tested it once, pull back, a nice little hourly inverted head and shoulders pattern. Here would be a nice little bullish pattern to buy, wouldn't it? And that would suggest that we retest the highs of the range, and hopefully this time look for a breakout. Okay, so that's going to be my bullish trigger above 2.846 for ADA. That's what I'm looking for. Might even put an alert there. So let's zoom back out again to the daily. So we've got this sideways consolidation. I've been projecting, so I put my fibs on from this high to the low. This is how I've been projecting. For me, we're clustering around this 1.27. If we break out, my next upside target for ADA is 3.37, and then if we get above 3.37, 4.84 all the way up here. So looking pretty good in ADA. I really do like how we're holding new highs, how we pulled back, we retested this high, found support. Again, let's look at this big green thrust candle. Let's talk about the candlesticks. I need to just hide that, hold on. Big green candlestick, 3 little inside bars, a break to the upside of this one would be a breakout from our sideways range in ADA as well, and a really nice, bullish move. So no reason to be selling any of these at the moment. They really are holding up, aren't they? Okay, let's talk about Ripple. It's gone very quiet about Ripple's lawsuit, or maybe I'm just not reading the news right. Let's take a look at the daily chart, and we'll clean up do some chart cleanup and we'll start again. We'll put our regular candles on because this is another one for at least the last 6 days anyway. We've been sideways, but I would argue that we've been sideways really since mid-month in a bullish pennant. So if we look at this low here, this is potentially wave 1, 2, 3. Unless this was a sort of X wave and we should start our count here. So I'm not quite entirely sure. Possibly this is 1, 2, 3 and we're in wave 4 and we've got a big wave 5 to come that will have a relationship to this wave. Or we could say this is 1, 2, 3 and still wave 4 and still another leg high. Either way, this sideways price action points to it being a wave 4 as well. So a breakout from this sideways range or this bullish pennant in Ripple is our next upside move. If we look at our fibs, to be honest, these fibs have been a little bit woolly for me, and so I'm not really super reliant on them. If we do the retrace fibs, you know, they're not really, it's like the market isn't really, they're just a little bit messy, let's put it that way. A little bit messy. Anyway, I think if we close above 1.237, let's go back, we'll use them. If we close above 1.237, we should look for 1.41 and then 1.65 for our next two upside levels in the ladder. And if we, and hopefully, no, yeah, I think 1.41 is a pretty much a given. Yeah, they don't really line up. So anyway, a bullish pennant. What we should warn about with month end, as you know, I also think that we tend to make a higher low around the 5th or 6th. With a wave 4 here, which I think this is, this could also be 5 waves. So for that, that would mean here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before we break out. So if we don't break out above this 1.237 and we can do a little bit more sideways price action, that's what I would be looking for. One more swing lower before we head up again. So we do need to be a little bit careful. The market can often go sideways for longer than some of us are liquid. So you need to be, manage your risk. Watch out at this 1.2379 level. Okay, so that's that. Now, DOGE is one of my more favourite charts that I was looking at today. One of the reasons that I like DOGE, I'm going to zoom out here, is this big pullback that we made came back to a 786 fib level. In fact, it double bottomed at it. And when you do that, your confirmation, and we had a sideways range, we had a double bottom here, and we had a double top at this 0.283618 fib. So we basically went back and forward between this range. And then when we break out, you expect this to be support on a back test and to rally from here. So I was always looking for this to hold. It's a little bit messy. I've got high Kanashi on here. It's been a little bit messy, but I was watching today to see if we could make a little bit of a bottom here and turn higher. We didn't. I was hoping for an inverted head and shoulders. It didn't work. Instead, what we've done is a little bit of a deeper retest. I am still looking, though, for this level to hold. And so I'm looking for a breakout from this little channel and one more leg higher. My target's all the way up here for DOGE. And I think there'll be some resistance. So my target is 0.457. And I think there'll be some resistance between here and there at 0.37. So still looking for this to make a base. Now, we could extend this, but, you know, if you think of a downtrend in its simplest terms, it's lower highs and lower lows, isn't it? And so as soon as we take out one of these lower highs, we are going to be in a short-term uptrend. And then if we make a lower low, you know, happy day. So this is what we need to see. No matter where we turn up from, we do need to get above 0.297 in Doge. And then we're on our way for at least another swing higher, and we'll see where we go. I'm going to say this in terms of the hourly, this bigger channel is what I'm looking at. And this is going to be like an early warning, if you like. So by breaking out of this smaller channel, I'm going to look up to 0.3 and then a breakout here. So I think Doge potentially is setting up. It's just a matter of if we can... this 0.283 back above this 61.8 is going to be the most important thing. So hello Squidgy Ball, hello Alex, hello everyone. BCH, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna, I've got 22 coins tonight. I had a vote and there were like over 30, and so I picked the 22 most popular, and so I'll do as many as I can. In fact, I better speed up then, hadn't I? So there's Doge. Luna. Now Luna is another chart that I still think looks really bullish and still has lots of upside potential. Let's find Luna. Okay. So I am going to talk about, so first of all, let's talk about how I'm going to put log scale on like this. I'm going to talk about how I got my fib levels, okay? I measured from the big low in September 2020 to this high here in March 21, and I projected it from this low here. Okay, so this is how, so I've measured this swing and then I've projected from here. I'm going to take it out of log scale. Okay, so because I wanted to know, was this a big ABC correction? We had a little bit of a pause at the 61.8. We paused one day at this equal measured move level, and then we blasted through it. Nice three-wave correction, and it's support. So this is support. We're still going higher in Luna. And then we got to the 1272 level, closed above it, pulled back tested it for support, and today that was support, and we've rallied away from it. So that means that I can say, as long as we stay above this support at 32.04 in Luna, next upside target is 39.70. And if we go beyond the 1.618, the 2.618 is at a lovely 61.81. So should we buy it now? Are we going to launch from here? I would say no. I have to say most corrections, remember, are three waves. Look, we did three waves here. We did three waves here. We need to do three waves here, really, before Luna's going to go up again. And we've only done one. So 1, 2, 3, and then up, okay? Oops, my mouse is stuck. Okay? But big picture, do I like Luna? Yeah, I love it. Buy pullbacks. I do like Luna to continue further. And when we look at that daily chart, it looks kind of really obvious. I would definitely, if I've been long, take some profit there. By the time we get there, I think we can quite easily measure 5 waves up. We may see a bit of a bigger pullback from there. So I think if you identify a level, the way I trade it anyway is to take half off at that level and then watch the price action, because sometimes it'll just keep going, and when you're above it, then you know, at least you still got a bit of a position, so you can get some more of the move rather than take it all off. But then if you take half off and then it does make a nasty reversal, then I'll wait for the retest usually, and then I'll sell the rest. Okay, yeah, Luna is quite well named. Let's look at some DOT. And where's DOT gone? Let's see. Polkadot. Let's see. Right, I'm going to start with the weekly chart and DOT. So remember the kind of rule of candlesticks. When you have a big thrust candle and you have inside bars that stay in the top half, that's usually above the kind of Maribosu line, above the halfway point of the open close. That's quite bullish. If we put our fibs on from the high here to the low fib retrace levels, we've also got this 38.2, which we climbed above and is now support. So on the weekly, as long as we don't close back below 25.43, we're still in a pretty nice uptrend. We're just in a sideways correction. So we've had a little bit of a knockback here at this 200 moving average. It's possible that we go sideways for a bit. I think that this is our first big swing. And so it's bad that this looks like 5 waves, but what can I do? What can you do? I think our next swing higher is underway. It's just begun, hasn't it, today? We've now got a really nice inverted head and shoulders pattern here, short term after this pullback in DOT. So looks like we're breaking above the neckline. So looking for 30 next. Let's see if we get a very shallow pullback, and by that I mean like I get a really low time frame, like a 15 minute, 5 minute. If we, in fact, here we are holding above this level and this neckline. So yeah, looking higher from here, 30.08. Really nice long setup now in DOT. So this would be my target, this next upside fib level. But if I'm wrong, what if this is a big correction and this is just an, then the potential danger level for DOT is going to be where this is an equal measured move, isn't it? So that would be 27.85. So now that we've broken higher, we really kind of don't want to fall. If we reverse here and we come back and retest the neckline, we really don't want to break back underneath that neckline. So if you keep your stop under here, that's where you're wrong, right? So if we do happen to stop here, we need this to hold if we're going to keep going higher. Okay? So that's short-term DOT looking pretty nice. So we're looking for 30.09. May see a little bit of a knockback there, then let's go back to the daily. Then we're going to be, hooray, above the 200 moving average. That should bring more money in. And then up we go. It's looking good, isn't it? That equal measured move level, should I tell you, we need to be careful about that as well, because, let me move this, and we look at these lows. There's a really strong support and resistance level here, and just a bit higher. So this that equal measured move level is also the 200 moving average, and then we've got the highs just above here, because it's quite easy to imagine in Polkadot, isn't it? If we fail again at this 200 moving average and we do another leg lower, we could end up with a much bigger inverted head and shoulders pattern, hopefully. Remember, this is quite a big swing without a correction. It wouldn't look weird at all if we did this, would it? So watch out for strong resistance at 27.78. And above 27.78, we're looking for 30. Okay, so that ABC is where the 200-day moving average is. So DOT looking really good, but really we need to clear 27.78. Sol, what an amazing move Sol's been having. Let's take a look at Sol next. Here we go, good to go. Okay. Let's start with our weekly chart. So I've done some projections here. And right. I'm going to leave them on because they've been kind of working pretty well. So if we think this was an ABC, these have been working very well. If I hide them, the other way that I would see, the reason I've been starting from here is I think that this was a three-wave correction. So let me look at it this way. So this was 1, 2, 3, and then this is 1, 2, and our new upswing. Okay, if we look at it on the daily, like this, so this would be our correction, then wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in wave 5. And wave 5 is going to extend a very long way. So one of the reasons that I'm going to, this is why I'm going to measure from this low and not the one to the left of it. So, and we're going to project it from here. Okay. And we're going to see how that measured out. Sometimes it doesn't, because I could be wrong. So here we were equal. We kept going, 1272. We paused at 1.618. Here we are pausing again at where we are 2.618 of this wave 1. Are we likely to stop here? Normally you should be able to count in the final wave 5 waves, and I don't think we can actually. So I'm going to say probably not. But when I'm not sure, like this, I tend to look for a couple of things. So for each swing that we pull back, for example, like here, was this the high here? I look and say, you know, as long as we pull back to 61.8 and keep going higher, this is probably not. We're still, this is where I would expect it to pull back to and then retest the highs. Okay, so there's one way we could do it with this swing, which is now really extended. We could say if we pull back in this swing and we don't come back, you know, more than this 50 or 61.8, that we're still probably in an uptrend. That's quite a long way back, isn't it? So I tend to, when we get quite extended like this, I'll go from the big swing low and I'll use the 236 fib. And so as long as we stay above that, that's like my touchstone. We are likely still trending higher and not going to see a bigger correction. So for me, that would mean 104, today's move basically. Not today's move, but to sort of today's late day move. Another way we could say is, I don't think that gives us enough wiggle room with Sol, does it? We could wait for the close, and then we could say, well, 50%, as long as we don't close down more than 50% of the big green thrust candle, we're still in an uptrend. And in terms of candlesticks, here, this is what I mean. We have a big green thrust. We don't close more than 50%, and up we go. And you see that with them quite a lot. Like this candle, if we had done this here, that's where we pulled back to a couple of times. So that also means that when a market has a big move day without you, okay, then one of the safe places to put your order is 50% back of the open close, because you should at least bounce from there. And then if you can't make a new high, or you make a lower high or a double top, you know, you haven't had a loser. So if you've looked at Sol and you've gone, oh, it's gone without me, I think it's going to go to the moon, that would be a good place to put an order. For me, being this far away from the moving averages and getting this stretched, I tend to like to see a bit of a bigger pullback. But yeah, if you're in a short-term trade and looking for a day trade's continuation, then 50% back of this Sol is where I'd look. Because yeah, potentially we do have further to go. Okay, Sol is one of the ones, I think it was my pick like 2 weeks ago, and it's just not stopped trending. It's just been, no, it was when it was down here. So yeah, no, pretty nice move this one's having. Let's talk about XTZ, Tezos. Another one, pretty nice move. I know not everyone likes all of these shit coins. I am not, honestly, we're not here to talk about the fundamentals, just the charts, okay? So let's load Tezos. Okay. So This is XTZ in dollars. We're going to look at this. Okay. Now, one of the... So I've put my fibs on from this low down here to this high, and we've reversed from the 786 fib level. One of the rules for a 786 fib reversal is the confirmation of the reversal is back above the 61.8 again, because these fibs are like a staircase. And then your first target is the 38.2, which was where this pink highlight was, and we went through it. And when you do that, your second target is the 236, back testing that, which is up here. What I like about this is how we are back testing now after this lovely big move in Tezos, potentially this support level. Potentially 5.32 is good support for Tezos to keep going higher on the weekly. So today we've pulled back to that level, and this is our target. Let's see how it works if we line up our fibs the other way, because all of the moving averages are really bullish. Have we got room to go higher before a bigger correction in Tezos is mainly our question. Now this works for these fibs as well, because remember they're a ladder, so high to low. We paused at the 236, we paused at the 38.2, we paused at the 50%, now we paused at the 61.8, but each time we pull back we've carried on. So that means as long as we hold above this 50% level, again 5.26, that adds weight to this argument. We are looking to go higher, and I would say that if we break above this 61.8, we'll go even higher than that to the 786 next, which is at 7.06. So now we've got our sort of sideways range, haven't we? We know where to trade in between, and we know, so buy the bottom, sell the highs, look for a breakout. So if we drop below 5.26, we've likely made a top. If we continue above 6.01, we've got another leg higher to 7.06 for XTZ. Squidgy. Every day, Saeed, yes. In fact, quite a few days we look at, I look at the market twice a day, in the morning and the evening. And a couple of lunch, US Open, we do live trading a couple of days. I do this daily, yeah. And we have a really good chat room with really good traders in it. So it's quite a collaborative group, luckily. And I'm very grateful to the really good traders in my group who all hang out together. Very grateful. It wouldn't be anything without them. So it means, and if you're in the middle of the night looking at something, there's always someone there with a second opinion as well, doesn't it? I don't think trading alone is a good idea. It was never very good for me, but okay, so we're going to look at HBAR. HBAR. Here we go. Header hash graph. Now let's tidy up this Fib retrace, because okay. Here was a lovely wave 1, 2. I think this is wave 3. If we measure the difference between them, so wave 3 is often has a relationship to wave 1, 1.618. 2.618. In this case it was really extended, and 4.236 of this first wave. So clearly this is much bigger than this first wave, and potentially our third wave. So I think we're in a wave 4 correction. So I'd like to be bullish HBAR and think that this is done. The problem is, yeah, I think that this correction took so much longer, and is it ready to go again? And one of the levels, when you see in a correction that you very often have trouble with is a pullback to a 50%. So, you imagine if we'd started a new downtrend, then back to that 50%, which isn't a fib, of course, would be the first place you'd look to be problematic. So that's a little bit of an issue here. I think that we could be lining up a little bit of a bigger pullback before we continue higher in HBAR. So whenever I see a double top, it always makes me a little bit nervous. It makes me think it means you stopped going up or stopped going down. Here we've got a little bit of a double top swing failure pattern here as well. So at this point, I think if you were looking to buy HBAR, there's a lot to like about this, but it's been very choppy and overlapping. It doesn't look really impulsive to me. I would like to see it above 0.2956. Otherwise, at this point, I think I'm going to be waiting for a bigger correction. And one of the issues when you reverse at a 50% level, mean reverting markets tend to keep mean reverting, as in pulling back 50%. And so we could see a 50% reversal here, which would mean back to these lows and the daily 50 moving average at 0.2148. So I'm thinking back to the bottom of the range again before we go up. Unless this does something dramatic in HBAR. Otherwise, I'm neutral. I would love to see it down here to buy a pullback, to be honest. So, otherwise, I'm a little bit neutral. If you're long and you're riding above the 200 moving average, you shouldn't be selling. Hold on for the ride if you've been long-term long. But if you're not, or you've got a new position, and we start to lose these moving averages, then this is where I'd be looking for a pullback to. And you kind of need to decide, can I hold on back to there, or, do I want to buy some more back lower? Okay, HBAR neutral then. Maybe we see a little bit of a bigger pullback in that one, unless we can break above 0.29. Next one is SXP. I don't have all the charts ready tonight, by the way. Okay. Anyway, how is everybody doing? I always get sad at the end of August. I hate the end of summer. And, yeah. It's got that end of summer vibe going on this week. I feel like we shouldn't be looking at the markets. We should just, last chance to, do something fun. Anyway. Let's take a look at SXP. We're not talking about SRM, which looks like it's having a really... This is one we looked at this morning in my group. Nobody requested it. We were looking for a breakout here and another leg higher to 10.14. We've had a lovely breakout today. So again, this is one, if you missed it and you go, damn, look, I didn't catch it. Clearly, this level and 50% back of this candle would be a really good place to look for a pullback if we got one. So if you were watching this overnight, that's where I would be marking it, looking for back to 8.3, 8.4, and then carry on higher in SRM. Anyway, that's not the one we're looking at. We should be looking at SXP. SXP. Okay, we'll start with the weekly chart. Okay. We'll have a little bit of a tidy up. Okay. So we went to the 113. Sometimes this makes me think that this is... Okay. Do you see how we just dropped like a rock here in one straight line? On the weekly, when you see it as a correction three ways, I like to see it sort of. I like to be able to see a B leg where you can count a couple of waves as well, and in this drop here, there's nothing like that, is there? And so I feel like this, like a bit like Bitcoin, we're at risk that this is just the first swing and then a rally and then another swing lower if this one stops going up. So again, we're going to use fibs to help us identify a reversal. Okay, this one has paused at a 61.8, which means that this 50% here has to hold if we're going to stay in an uptrend, because if it doesn't, Then we're going to do that golden ratio zone correction and head one pullback lower to the 38.2 here at 3.07. So 3.6 daily 20 moving average, previous highs, really important support if we're going to stay in an uptrend for SXP. And then of course next leg higher. If we get above this 61.8 will take us to the 786, and of course these previous highs 4.95. So key support, look at that weekly candle. Now we've had a little bit of a false break trigger of it, haven't we? That could actually go to see more selling, so we need to be a little bit careful here. Now, so far we're bouncing off this level. Let's draw this as a channel. Let's look if we can break out of this channel above these moving averages on the hourly, and then that would be our next swing up. It's all a little bit risky here though, so we need to be a little bit careful. Sorry about that anyway. Yeah, if we can't break out of this channel, if we can't get above these moving averages, let's watch out, because we could just head lower here in SXP. If I measure the swings, it is for me an ideal level, but you know, we may need to go a little bit lower to meet the sort of minimum correction level down here at 3.47. So still in a downtrend. Unless we break above 3.77 in SXP, and still in a correction if we... Damn. So ideal support, not quite turned up high enough yet for me, but that's what I'm looking at. Okay. I'm not seeing the comments, so hopefully this is all right. Right, RSR and then... XVG. So RSR, let's take a look at this chart again. Let's start with a weekly chart, see where we're at, where we're going on our way up. So we're retracing this big drop from the highs here, climbing through the fib levels. If I put regular candles on instead of my Heikin-Ashi, you can see that each one of these fib levels has been really nice support and resistance. So it's resistance, then support, resistance. When we get above this 38.2 level, it should be support. We should look for this 50% next. So we're sideways underneath our resistance and the daily 200 moving average. A lot of people will say, gosh, this looks like a head and shoulders pattern. This little fake breakdown, if it was though, is quite bullish. False breaks either direction are always pretty strong reversals. So here's our left shoulder, head, right shoulder, false break. When head and shoulders fell, it's because they're ABC corrections. And so I think that this is probably what this was. So this will be A leg, B leg, C leg, where this is 61.8 of the first leg. And here we go up again. Clearly, if we break these shoulders or get back above these moving averages, this is us going higher. If we can't break out of this little alley channel, then, and we retest the lows, we could easily, you know, then down we go. So, above, I think above sort of 0.525, 0.0525, my apologies, would be a interesting long. If you want a better level, I say fib from high to low, and I look for the 236 fib, and that's above 0.0520 is a long. So that's our long entry for the next swing up. So 0.520, this, I think it looks good for it, but we might just have a little bit of a knockback first. So we might do, wouldn't be surprised that this is strong resistance if we do this first and we make a bigger bottoming pattern. So unless we break out, be careful. Okay, RSR then, where are we going to go? Well, that 50% level is also, let's tidy up, the 200 moving average. So that 50% level is important, and then 0.0555. So we're basically, you know, we could get in trouble if we can't get above that 200 moving average, and this could end up being just, to be honest, a bigger head and shoulders pattern. You do sometimes see them, you know, if you have a double shoulder, which is this is, so we've got a little shoulder, big shoulder, head. Then sometimes you see big shoulder, little shoulder, breakdown. So that 200 moving average and these highs are like really crucial. So because we could just do this, which we did here, and then it's still symmetrical and we still go down. So okay, good luck in RSR then. We know what we're looking for. Above the 200 moving average, above this 38.2 fib, then I really think it's a no-brainer long to these previous highs and this 50% level at 0.0677. But tough resistance around here to get through first. Okay, next one, RSR. So tough resistance for RSR, XVG. I don't know, there's an awful lot that still looks sort of really bullish to me, so I'm not ruling out anything. All right then. So we have talked about ideal pullbacks in a correction, being back to the 50%. This XVG has been making a really kind of messy 50% pullback of this rally. And really we've been sideways for 6 days. In between the moving averages, in between the daily 50 and 20. So it's a little bit neutral. I like, you know, don't diddle in the middle is a thing. It really is a thing. So if this is our horizontal support, here's our, I'm not really comfortable doing that, but let's just see how that looks on the weekly. Yeah, actually on the weekly it's all right, isn't it? False breakdown. Yeah, I'm so neutral. The moving averages are flat. We're in the middle of a sideways consolidation range. To be quite honest, we could, if you were bearish, we could bounce quite a long way before we continue back to the bottom of this range. And because it's a 50% pullback, to be honest, we could just bounce from here and carry on higher. I would like to see it. I wouldn't buy it unless I could see it back above that weekly 20 moving average, which is at 0.0279. So 0.0279, I wouldn't try a buy, and that's this high here, and also the hourly 200 moving average. So I think if we get above there, yes, we're going up. It is a very nice looking double bottom here, and that means we've stopped going down. Now we need to see if we can go up from here. And you know, this high will also be an issue, won't it? So we need to be a little bit careful that we do break higher here, because if I go to, we could just as easily this be a 1, 2, 3, and this is a 4. So, and if that was the case, then resistance, our first resistance, is going to be this previous wave 4 here, 0.292, and kind of around these highs. So let's, yeah, the more conservative trade would be to wait for it to see if it can break out of this sideways range, if you like. But if you wanted to buy the bottom and sell the top and see if it can, that's okay. Just bear in mind it's a little bit neutral, you know. It's not such a trend. Let's put it that way. Flat moving averages, we really do need a breakout, because we could just, to be honest, we could just come up here in this ABC correction, 1, 2, 3, and then we could just carry on. So we need to be a little bit careful. Neutral. I don't think XVG is one of the best opportunities out there at the moment. Sorry. Okay, Raven. But yeah, if we got above here, then I would be excited with you. It's just at the moment, I'm not feeling it. 1 second. So Ravencoin, this is a much more interesting look here. I know these moving averages are flat, but we have pulled back to them in a 3-wave move, and we found support from them. So if we can turn up again here from this consolidation, happy days. It's a 38.2 fib pullback, which is okay. It's very good. So there's lots to like about this. It's yeah, lots to like. Now, third touches of trend lines are very often false breakouts. So if we were to say, where is our resistance likely to be? If we buy some of this, if we get a lower time frame setup, our resistance is likely to be where we backtest this 236 fib and where we draw the trend line, and that's at 0.1455. And above 0.1455, I think we've confirmed that we're going up again. So again, the danger here is that we just make a 3-wave correction that kind of goes, I can't, it's not letting me draw, 1, 2, 3, and then we go down again. So on a lower time frame, so we are holding at these highs. So this is our resistance, 0.1455, and above there, that is exciting. Up until then, there is a risk that that's where we get stuck. So doesn't mean you can't buy it here. If we break above these highs, clearly on the 4-hourly we're going up. But we need to continue above 0.1455 to break out. Otherwise it would just be like, okay, next one. Now, let's take away these pullback fibs and look at where Ravencoin can go if we continue higher. Okay, so obviously this was a 50% knockback. Oh, that makes me nervous. Yeah, you really do need to make sure this breaks out. Then 61.8786. So yeah, so we're going to look for a retest first off of 0.167, then 0.196, and then so on. Then we are properly going up. We could fly in Ravencoin, but yeah, that 50% level is going to be key. Okay, next one is RUNE, then waves, then ICX. So RUNE, Pretty sure I saw RUNE. I don't think I should make those noises. Okay. Damn, RUNE. Here we go. It's another one. They all look so bullish. Okay. This is another one where actually that didn't quite work. Let's try them this way. Let's have a clean up and fresh look at where we are. Look high to low. Haha! So we reverse at the 50%. If you drop underneath this 38.2, you're going to drove 50% back. So weekly chart, we're holding the support 9.9. Okay, we closed right on it, didn't we? So 9.9, as long as we hold this. And look at these lovely daily moving averages as well. We've just crossed the 20 above the two. Everything's lined up for a push higher. Lovely little inverted head and shoulders. I don't really like them when they slope like this, but clearly with this 200 as the neckline, it's obvious that we're above it and holding above it. So I would like to see this consolidation break higher, retest the 50% level at 12.09, and then next up would be the 61.8 here at 14.28 target. So target here next. As long as we hold the line in this sideways consolidation and don't break down. I really do like this double bottom. It means we've stopped going down. If we break the highs in the middle here, we're going up. So looking pretty good. So looking pretty good above 10.6. That would be, because then we've got our breakout of our sideways range. What happens if we can't break it, or we do one of those little slight false breakouts? It would mean that this was just an ABC correction, three wave, and we're not, this would just be like a three wave correction, and down we go again. So that would be a problem. So above 10.7, holding above 10.7 would be really bullish for RUNE. We would look for a retest of 12.09 and then 14.28 next upside target. Okay, next one we're going to look for is Waves. Waves broke a few hearts today, pretending it broke out, and then it didn't quite break out, and then it came back, and then is it going up? And I think it broke out and we're going up. Let's look at the weekly. Okay, because this 50% level in waves was a problem. We got stuck here for 3 days, 3 weeks. What am I talking about? 3 weeks we were stuck at this 50% level. And today, ta-da, we've broken above it. So this is what I mean about this, on the daily, about these false breakouts. So now, one of the reasons that I've got this pink and these previous highs is a bit of a trouble. Let me clean it up. Was when we were looking at it today. So if we were just going to do a sideways correction here, if this was our A leg and then this is just a B leg and then we do another one, then if these two swings are equal, that's a little bit, makes you a little bit nervous, doesn't it? You would see a marginal new high and then it would come all the way back. And you can see that's where we stopped at that equal level at 28.71. So we really need to push beyond 28.71. And when we do, we're on our way. Happy days. What we also need to see is this 50% level now becomes support. So anyway, lots to like here. Closing at a new high would be really encouraging. So yeah, I'm excited. I think this is a breakout. And yeah, keep buying the dips in waves. And I think we've got another leg higher to that 61.8 level. 42. Is it that? Is it that 61? No. Gosh, need to draw it in. 61.8, 78.6, and so on. Okay. There we go. So we go level to level. 30.23, 35, 35, and then retest the highs. But yeah, for me, this is new swing. As long as we don't fall back now, this is a new swing beginning for waves and buy pullbacks. Okay, next one we're going to look at ICX. Comp Digibuy. ICX. Okay. Hope everyone's all right, not falling asleep or... Yeah, I know. I could just... maybe I'll just try a career making ASR. What do they call them? That thing that makes your scalp tingle videos. I could do that, or read books, or send people to sleep. New career. Okay. Okay, we're going to look at ICX. Ta-da. Now, let's start with the weekly chart and regular candles. And this is another one that's had a really bullish move. We're holding above our weekly. You're watching VRA go up now, and you traded out of it. You can't. There's so many. Like, you can't win them all. You cannot win them all. Okay. So we're going to use our fib levels like a ladder. We're going to climb our way up them. We're going to get out a log scale here, because there's a lot to like about this chart. Above all of the weekly moving averages is the biggest one. Pulling back and finding support from them is a great one. Getting knocked back at the 38.2 and then finding support at the 236 fib and rallying is also another really good sign. So I am feeling quite positive. This 200-day moving average, another one where this is going to be a little bit of trouble. And so if we were to fail, that's likely where we are to fail. And if we are to fail at the 200 moving average, it would be that this three-wave back is the first leg of a bigger correction. In other words, this is our three waves is our A leg, and then we make three waves with our B leg, and then we do a second leg lower, and this high would be the 200 moving average, and that's where the 200 moving average is. So I like ICX, but our danger level then is if we break higher from this consolidation, our danger level is where that's equal. Come on. Let's try and tidy up my chart again. Okay. So let's measure. I honestly can sleep anywhere. I can sleep sitting up. I regularly fall asleep at my desk. See, I'm so boring I send myself to sleep. I'm kidding. Okay, so if this is just a correction, we won't break out, and 1.4 will be resistance, and that's where this first swing will be 61.8 of the first one. So that's our first danger level here at 1.406, and then our second danger level is 1.47. So if we do this, we're still in a downtrend. If we get up here and these two are equal, so that means this swing and this one are equal, that's still a downtrend. But if we can go beyond 1.47, we're looking really good for this to be over and going up again. So those are the... So the way I trade this, that doesn't mean that I won't buy it. I'm not going to wait until it gets up there and see. I think if we broke out from this consolidation here, I probably would buy it. Okay, I would buy it on a breakout here, but I would make sure that this, if this failed here, then I would put my stop to even, because I don't want this to, you know, you don't want to turn a trade that's been onside into a big fat loser when it comes all the way back. Okay. So sideways consolidation, we should see at least another leg higher, and it may be that the whole correction is over and we see new highs from here. If we do see new highs, we're going to look for, first off, we've got to get through that 200-day moving average. But if we do, then the 50% would be our next target, wouldn't it? So our first target was a retest of 1.6, and then our target would be 1.916 next. Okay. ICX, comp, and then Digibyte. Okay, comp, and then Digibyte. I don't know where that one is, so let's see, comp. This is quite interesting. Let's see. So this is one of those examples of what I mean by a three-wave correction where the next wave is 61.8 of the first wave. Now, I'm not sure this is done because this looks like 3 waves back. And so if we break these highs, if we break above 516, then our next target is 644. So, which is quite nice. Let's go down to time frame, and you can see here we've made a 3-wave correction. So if we break out of this channel, that's where we're looking for a retest of the highs, and then here. So all of these are having a bit of a go, aren't they? There's our declining wedge or channel, if you like. So a breakout from this channel. Third touches here. Very often you see a false break, so that would mean it looks like it's breaking out, and then it has a nasty pullback, shakes you all out, and then it goes again. Okay, so just be careful of that. That happens at triple tops and triple bottoms as well. Okay, so above here we're looking for this, and then above here our second trade would be from here to here. Okay, comp then, let's go back out. 644, and then above 644 I think 735 and 851 retest the highs. Why not? But we'll see how this unfolds. I think, you know, at the moment this is really clearly congestion sideways around these moving averages, and above 516 we should really fly if we can get above it. So be a little bit careful till then. Let's look at Digibyte finally. Okay. Now, I'm going to hide a few things here. And we'll go step by step. Okay, let's take that one off and hide that. And chart tidy up. Okay, so as we said before, whenever you see a correction that's 3 equal waves, if it comes all the way back, it was just a correction and you're vulnerable to new lows. Okay, at the moment, that's not the case here quite yet. But, hold on. Yes, it is. I didn't have my magnet on. There we go. Okay, so what we've done here is 2 equal swings. If we come back a little bit lower here, that will be a bearish reversal and not good. So if we can hold this support here and continue higher, which is what we need to do, we can stay optimistic that Digibyte is going to keep going higher. But a close or continuing back below 0.0652 for me would be, or worse, back underneath this for a, yeah, more than 50% back. None of that would be a good look. So a little bit concerned. Yeah, this is the hourly 200 moving average and an equal measured move. So the retest, as they say, is the test. So if we retest this level and we make a double top, that wouldn't be good. If we make a lower high here and then break down these lows, that wouldn't be good either. Okay, at the moment this potentially is just then a correction in Digibyte. So look at Squidgy Ball, he said you see card deposits are back on at Binance. Yeah, you know, Binance, if you do, I think they are, like, if they've got a really good business, they'd be crazy to lose it, wouldn't they? I have to say that I'm really neutral to Japan. I can't. Yeah. I do believe that Digibyte is going higher. Okay, I'm going to clean up this because this are all targets. Okay, from this low to this high, we double bottomed at an 886 fib level. And when you do that, your target should be back to the 50% up here. So this is up here. This is our target. The problem is, so bigger picture, I am bullish. The problem is that I think that we could go lower before we go higher here, and potentially back down to 0.05 and this daily 50 moving average. So that's why I'm a little bit cautious. Now, back above that 200 moving average, that would be all back on, game on for me. So at the moment, I'm neutral. I'm bigger picture bullish. I'm just not sure that this is ready to go yet. And I think the way this is behaving, it's just sideways, and there's a risk that we go one more swing lower in Digibyte. Whenever I see these moving averages the wrong way around, which they are, then we're always a little bit at risk of that. If we were to get above them, if we were to go more than 50%, if we were to get back above that daily 200 moving average, then I would say game on. I think we're in the next swing higher. But if I was looking to buy this, I would like to see a bit of a bigger pullback. If I'm in it, I would say hold on, see if the lows hold and we can keep going. Yeah, that's how I'm seeing Digibyte. I'm pretty neutral otherwise. I wouldn't buy or sell at this juncture. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that's useful to some people. So Bitcoin, we are not topped yet. It could turn into a top. We could see a really nasty start to September. A lot of things could go wrong. But at the moment, Bitcoin, I feel like wants to squeeze higher. I think we could very easily see a retest of the highs in 50 and potentially 51. So let's hang on and see how we go. Now, next week is a big holiday. It's Labor Day. Very often that's a turning point for markets. If you were going to ask me, I think that, we're going to keep going up until at least then. So, pudgy penguins won't buy themselves. I know. Somebody asked me to explain. I'll do that next week, I think. We'll explain. We'll talk NFTs next week. This week I'm sad. I'm sad for people in Afghanistan. I'm sad for people who died in Afghanistan. I'm sad that we have such a shit government and leadership that allowed this to happen. Anyway, hug the ones you love. Have a really good week, people.